let's talk about the different types of education. So, education is the most important system of knowledge that people have invented so far. It is a way that people get to know more about the world, but also a way that they can learn more about themselves and the others. We look at three different types of education here that can help you in different ways. Indeed, education is an essential aspect of human lives. It is a basis of good person. However, a good education teaches a person how to be a good person. So, what is question about the type of education? We must define first what we mean by education. The definition of word education is to teach or have learned. The definition of the word education is a broad one and can be applied to many different situations. In other words, it is a process of learning a subject or discipline. Through education, people can learn how to do certain tasks and how the world works. So, what are the three types of education? So, education refers to the development of learning and thinking process. Besides, it extends beyond the classroom's fourth floor because education is all about gaining experience. We can divide it into three categories. So, these are the formal education, informal education, and non-formal education. So the section explains each of the three types of education. Let's talk first the about the formal education. So formal education is an organized educational system that runs from a primary school to university and includes specialized vocational, technical, and professional training programs. In the other words, formal education is also known as formal learning. In addition, it takes place in school environment. Moreover, formal education is the most important part of children's everyday lives and along with the families. Examples of the formal educations. The first is learning in a classroom. Second one is grading and certification in schools, college, and university degrees. The third one is planned education in several subjects with a good syllabus obtained by attending the institution. The next one is the informal education. So, informal education is one of the best types of education. It doesn't follow a rigid structure and doesn't happen on the school premises. In addition, informal education is widely used in a learning and teaching. Usually, it is done in non-formal setting like at home or in educational settings. So, in the other words, this education can be used for many things like learning about cultures, language, and practices. And these are the examples of informal education. First one is someone who is studying his or her mother tongue. The second one is teach the child fundamentals such as numeric characters. And the last one is spontaneous learning occurs when a person standing at the bank learns about opening and managing a bank account from someone. The next one is the non-formal education. So non-formal education refers to organized, structured, personal and social education programs and procedures for young people that are aimed to increase a variety of skills and abilities outside of the conventional educational curriculum. So this type of education takes place in schools, universities, or other specified locations to help students acquire various types of abilities. So these are the examples of non-formal education. Swimming sessions for toddlers, all sports and fitness programs. Community-based sports programs are the best example of non-formal education. And the last one is language and computer course. So there are many types of education and many ways to learn. Some people prefer to read while others prefer to watch videos. On the other hand, some children learn better when they have a teacher in front of them. Some parents prefer to homeschool their children while others prefer to send their children to a public or private school. So in the end, the type of education is up to each individual. However, the most important thing is to find a type of education that works for you and for your child. And that's the three types of education. Uh, and we will talk about the origin of education. So there are two theories concerning the exact origin of education. So the first one is the theory of divine creation, and the second one is the theory of evolution. So let's talk first the theory of divine creation. So it advocates that when God in the beginning of time created man according to his image and likeness, and commissioned him to multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over all other creations. Genesis chapter 1. He equipped man with intellect and free will, but because man chose to ignore God and disobey his will, the first couple was banished from the Garden of Eden and served the former relation between the Creator and man. Henceforth, the first couple multiplied, passing the knowledge acquired from God to their offsprings until the time when their children inhabited the earth, possessing the intelligence they inherited from their parents. These include the ability to communicate, read and write, knowledge in science and arts, as well as other skills like hunting, farming, fishing, and others. Finally, due to man's superior intelligence and God given talents, scientific advancements became part of man's existence. So that is the theory of divine creation. The next one is the theory of evolution. On the other hand, believes that education started when the very primitive man, basically savage, brutish, and animalistic, for he had just evolved from the lower primates, began his quest to find ways and means to feed, clothes, shelter, and protect himself and compete with other animals for survival. Education at the point says this theory was on its simplest form characterized by the absence of reading, writing, or a comprehensive language. The education was informal and learning was through observation and imitation of apprenticeship, for there were no existing schools yet. Let's talk about the educational contributions of ancient civilizations. So first is the Jewish. Jewish are the religious education. So they contribute synagogues or the temple schools, Bible and the Talmud, rabbis, or the teacher or priests. Next one is the Chinese, a career-oriented education. So the first one they contribute was the Analects of Confucius. The second one is civil service examination by Han Dynasty 206 BC. So there are three categories. So the first one is flowering talent, or the what they call the whole day exam. The next one is promoted man. So this is the 3 days exam. The last one is entered scholar fit for office. So these are the 13 days exam, and those who passed became the ministers of the emperor. So every examination that an individual passed had a corresponding decoration in his dress, in his household, and certain privilege. The next is Egyptian. So these are the practical and empirical education. So there are 7 contributions they have in education. The first one is hieroglyphics. So these are the ancient picture writing system. The second one is papyrus. These are the ancient paper. The third one is mathematics. Value of pi, or the pi, is equal to 3.16. The fourth one is engineering architecture. So these are the pyramids, dams, dikes, and palaces. The fifth one is geometry. These are the land surveying and measuring. The sixth one is astronomy, positions of stars and other heavenly bodies to determine tides, seasons, floods. Calendar composed of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, months of 30 days with 365 days a year. And the last one is the medicine. Explored human autonomy and the mummification of the dead. The next one is the Greeks. These are the liberal and democratic education. So there are 4 contributions they have. The first one is Olympic Games, the second one is mythology, the third one is democracy, and the fourth one is philosophy. So the Greek city-states, or the Sparta, authoritarian government, military city-state, communal life, military academy. At the birth, the child is taken care by the mother, but at the age of 7, he is turned over to the Paidonymous, or a military drill master who will teach him the art of warfare. So the next one is Athens. They contribute liberal education, freedom of thought, freedom of thought, expression, and religion. Education was a family responsibility. Every male child is given a pedagogos, or a tutor who will train him to be a good and responsible citizen. So the ancient Athenian schools, there are 3. The first one is Palaestra. So these are the gymnastic schools. And then the Paido tribe. So that was the teacher of the gymnastic. The second one is music school. So the guitarist, or the music teacher. And the third one is grammar school, grammatist. teacher of the letters. So the sophists were the wandering scholars who went to Athens, though Athenian boys, but collected fees from them. Pro- Protagoras was the most famous sophist who said that man is the measure of all things. So the Greek thinkers flourished in order to con- counteract the influences of the sophists who were not Athenians. So among them were the first one is the Socrates 469 to 399 BC. So he advanced the idea of gun guntai shoton or know thyself. He believed that knowledge is a virtue and all virtues actions are based on knowledge. He introduced Socratic dialect method of teaching which is composed of ironic or destructive element and the meiotic or the constructive element. The next one is Plato, 427 to 347 BC. So he proposed that the society should be divided into classes of people based on their talents and intelligence. So letter A, psych- philosophical class, so guardians or rulers of the society. Then letter B, warrior class, the protectors of the society. Letter C, artisan or industrial class, workers of the society. So Plato believes that education should be determined by the social class where the person belongs. And he also established a school called Academy. And the next one is Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC. So Aristotle was the pedagogus of Alexander the Great. So he was the tutor of Alexander the Great. So he established a school called Lyceum. Lyceum. He believed that virtue is wrought by doing, not by knowing. He advanced the idea that man is a social animal and must use in reason to attain his ultimate end, which is the summum bonum or highest supreme God. So Aristotle also postulated that man is composed of two distinct but united entities, body and soul. The soul is composed of irrational element or the appetites, desires, passions. And the second one is rational element or the intellect. So let's talk about the Greek universities. So University of Athens, world's first comprehensive university. Next one is the University of Alexandria, founded by Alexander the Great in Egypt. It had the most advanced library facilities, the Septuagint, the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, was translated by 70 scholars in this university. It had excellent products like Euclid in the field of geometry, Archimedes in the field of physics, Eratos, Eratosthenes, Eratosthenes in the field of geography and astronomy. Next is the Romans, the pragmatic and progressive education. So there are three contributions. These are the Latin language, the laws of the 12 tables, the Roman and the Roman Senate. So the Roman schools, elementary, secondary, and higher education. So in the elementary, School of the Literature of Ludi Magister. Secondary, School of the Grammaticus of Literatus. The higher education is the rhetorical schools. So the na- imperial contributions to education. So there are eight. So first is Vespasian AD 69 to 79. So founded the Roman University and Roman Library. The next one is Trajan, AD 98 to 117. So gave scholarships to poor but deserving students. The third one is Hadrian, 117 to 138. Gave pensions for retired teachers and gave more attention to law and medicine than to philosophy. The fourth one is Antonimus. Antonimus Pius, 138 to 161. Exempted all Roman teachers from taxation and military service. The fifth one is Constantine, 306 to 337. Continued all the privileges mentioned above and legalized Christianity by virtue of the Edict of Milan on AD 313. The sixth one is Julian, 361 to 363, required that all teachers be licensed and be given qualifying exams. He also eliminated Christian teachers from Roman schools. The seventh one is Gratian, 367 to 383, subsidized all Roman schools and created a salary scale for teachers. And the last one is Theodosius, 383 to 395. So he nationalized all schools and considered the establishment of private schools a grave crime punishable by law.